Welcome back. My 29 female boyfriend, now fiance, we'll call him Alex, and I have been together for 5 years, 2 of which were in a long-distance relationship. We got engaged last year and will be getting married this year. The excitement of feeling desired by someone led me to make a terrible mistake in the early years of our relationship. Both my fiancé and I have significant communication issues and past traumas from childhood and previous relationships. I'm someone who needs to feel wanted and loved, and I enjoy being desired. Unfortunately, my fiancé struggles with intimacy and has difficulty showing desire for me. This was especially true during the initial stages of our relationship. I don't want to make excuses. I know I did a terrible thing, and I deeply regret it. During the initial stages of our relationship, as we were still figuring things out and getting to know each other, we had some fights. Most of them were small disagreements. But one day almost 4 years ago, we got into a massive argument. And during that fight, Alex made a really hurtful comment about me. I can't recall the exact words because, to be honest, it's not clear in my memory now. In hindsight, it probably wasn't even that bad. In response, I left our house and reached out to a close friend of mine, we'll call him Chris. I was vulnerable. I had wanted to talk about my relationship, so we met up. And after about an hour of crying and venting to him, I started to calm down. Unexpectedly, Chris began giving me compliments, something he had never done before so blatantly, though I had caught him checking me out when I dressed nicely. He told me that I was attractive, and that he always harbored a little crush on me. At that moment, I was feeling down and vulnerable, so I really needed the validation he was giving me. Then he abruptly started kissing me, and I didn't stop him because it felt good to be desired again. But after a while, I snapped back into reality and stopped him. I then went back home to my fiancé and we patched things up, obviously because we're still here 3 years later. I love him more than anything in the world, and I can't see me spending my life with anybody but him. Now, here's the bit where I need advice about. The encounter that night with Chris did not stop there. It sort of led us into sort of sexting, exchanging compliments about each other's appearance, and exchanging nudes. When I realized what I was doing, I told Chris that it was wrong and that I couldn't continue down that path. I blocked him and deleted our chat, but somehow we started it back again. And after a while, it became physical. That was around 2 years ago. Chris has always wanted me to be exclusive with him, to end things with my fiancé so we can be official. But I've always resisted because I didn't want to hurt my fiancé. Besides, I do not see Chris as a guy that I would ever be in a serious long-term relationship with. He has no drive in life, and I don't want to be tied down to a dead weight for the rest of my life. But now me and fiancé are newly engaged and on track to get married soon. When Chris saw our engagement announcement on Facebook, he flipped out. He called me angrily and started scolding me. I've never even seen him getting so angry before. He says I need to end the engagement or else he will send our photos to my fiancé. He's given me 2 options. 1, end things with Alex and come to him. 2, confess everything to Alex and let him decide if I'm a bride worthy enough of him. Now, I don't want to do either for obvious reasons. I've never told Alex about any of this because I'm certain that if I do, I'll lose him. He looks at me with so much pride, happiness, and love, and if he finds out about what I did, all of that would vanish. I would lose the love of my life. I know that secrets have a way of coming out eventually, and I've accepted that fact. But right now, I don't want to lose him. My plan is to keep this secret, if possible, until the day I die, or at least until after we're wedded. Hopefully, he never discovers it. I'm well aware that I'm a terrible person for what I did. I've been holding this inside for so long, and it's been slowly eating away at me. This is the only place where I can confess my truth. I've failed terribly, and I don't know what to do now. Update. Alright, so first of all, I came clean about the affair 2 days ago. I delayed it because I wanted to have my therapy session first. So I told my fiancé of what happened, and initially he had a minimal reaction, which felt strange, but I was relieved that the worst was behind me. However, as the day turned into night, I noticed how he got incredibly drunk. and it became apparent that it affected him more than he let on. We went home after spending time with friends, and everything fell apart. He cried and expressed how much it messed him up, that he can't believe I did this, and he can never see me the same way again. Naturally, my actions broke his trust and hurt him deeply. We both cried, and it was a terrible night. I tried to apologize sincerely and promised to do everything in my power to show him it was a one-time mistake, giving him the space he needs. We both went to sleep, and the next morning, everything felt strangely normal again. I tried to talk with him about how casual he suddenly seemed, which unsettled me. It didn't work at first, but we eventually had a good and emotional conversation. He said he's willing to forgive me, give me a second chance, and that he still loves me, but he'll never forget what happened. And he can't promise that it will work out. On the surface, this seems fine and more than I could have hoped for, but something feels off. Since then, we've been having a lot of sex, talking and bonding too. However, the anxiety I'm experiencing now is eating away at me. I feel like this isn't real, and at any moment, I could come home to find him gone forever. The uncertainty of whether this is a genuine reconciliation, along with the immense guilt and regret of what I did and how I hurt him, makes me really anxious. I just feel trapped and don't know what to do now. Edit. As most of you guessed right, I did not disclose the full extent of the affair, nor do I intend to. Because I know once everything's out, he will dump me and call off wedding faster than light I can say wedding. He's still unaware of the physical aspect of the affair and its duration too. In the coming days, I plan to give him a clearer picture so he can process the information properly before making a rash decision like canceling our wedding. Update 2. Like I said, in the immediate aftermath of the revelation, my fiancé was calm and appeared emotionless. It's important to clarify that I never would have confessed and make him go through that pain if it wasn't for my affair partner, Chris's threats to send our nudes and videos to my fiancé. So after my initial confession, I started a little bit of what everybody calls trickle-truthing, to give him a more comprehensive idea of my affair, because Chris has still been very threatening. He was still calm as I told him of the physical aspect, but then in the evening, he told me it was over, and that I needed to move out of our home. However, during the process of finding a new place to live, we had long and open conversations, more honest than we've ever had before. At that time, we had an unprecedented level of physical intimacy multiple times a day, which had never happened during our relationship. We discussed the possibility of reconciling, how it might work, and what I needed to do. Initially, things seemed promising. Once I found an apartment and moved out, everything changed rapidly. He became cold towards me and basically ghosted me, which was hard to process because things had seemed positive initially. Then he went ahead and took down our engagement post on Facebook, deleted all our pictures on his page, and updated his status to single, which imploded my life, all within a few hours of me moving out. It's been a few weeks now, and I feel virtually ignored by the whole world. My family live a few blocks over from my new place, but they haven't so much as called. I've never felt so lonely while surrounded by my family. Then yesterday, via one of my handful of friends who are still in contact with me, I learned that my fiancé had been seeing a new woman, and she had been coming to our house. I confronted him about it, and he told me to piss off, in more civil words though. My world came crashing down because this new woman has met all his family, slept with my fiancé in what used to be our bed, and moved some of her things in, all within a little over a month. I have been making great progress with my healing program, seeking a therapist multiple times a week, joining a support group, and seeking help for my various trauma issues. But now, I feel like everything's back to square one. Despite this, I still hold out hope for a future with my fiancé, but it seems more distant than ever. He has not given any sign that he wants us getting back together at the moment. I'm using guidance from my support group, therapist, and other resources to work on my issues, become the best wife I can be, and focus on personal growth and healing. I've made it clear to my fiancé that I am open to reconciliation if and when he ever wants it, and we can resume wedding preparations as well. But this new relationship has deeply hurt. How do I overcome these feelings of jealousy? Edit. Chris is aware of what happened and has been persistently trying to get me to resume things with him, but I'm not interested. I haven't had any contact with him, blocking all his new numbers as I go along, because I think it'll impede my progress with my fiance. Comments. Progress? What progress? Your ex-fiance is done. He's literally got another woman in his bed. Your only option is to crawl back to Chris like you did all these years. So let me get this straight. You betray your fiance, disrespect your relationship, and then have the audacity to blame it on your need for validation and desire? Girl, please. Own up to your mistakes, and stop trying to shift the blame onto your partner's so-called intimacy issues. It's not an excuse to cheat. You chose to cross that line, and now you're facing the repercussions. If you really loved your fiance, you would have communicated your concerns instead of seeking comfort in the arms of someone else. Time to take a long, hard look in the mirror and grow up. Congratulations, you played yourself. Cheating, trickle-truthing, and now playing the victim card? It's like you're starring in your own soap opera. Newsflash, life isn't a romantic drama, and you can't control the storyline to fit your narrative. You made some serious mistakes, and now you're paying the price. Instead of trying to manipulate your fiance and cling on to your facade of happiness, how about being honest and showing some genuine remorse? You can't expect forgiveness and reconciliation without transparency and genuine efforts to change. You're setting yourself up for an epic downfall.